to the Life is an Escape Room podcast, where learning about yourself is an adventure. Here's your hosts, the Eanes escapeletes, Chris and Jeff.
Hello, fellow escapeletes. We are so glad you joined us today. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeff. And today we'd like to welcome Tyler Robinson. Hello, Tyler.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Oh, very good. Before we start, can you give us some of your background? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name is Tyler Robinson. I live up in Portland, Oregon. I've been working in the film industry the last 20 years as a production designer, designing sets for television and feature films. I have an Emmy for my work, and
Wow.
it's been a really fun career. However, a couple of years ago, I decided I wanted to try something a little different and start creating interactive entertainment instead of passive entertainment. And I was playing a lot of escape rooms at the time, and I enjoy games, as you may see back here. And I wanted to make an escape room, and I decided to focus on that. And in choosing my theme, I wanted to try something different, something I hadn't played before. I've played almost 100 games at this point, and I've enjoyed nearly all of them. But I just needed something different, something I hadn't played before. And I got stuck on this idea of trying to create an escape room that might have some educational or lasting social value. And I really wanted to play with that idea. And at the time, I was focusing more on my own personal emergency preparedness and volunteering with my local CERT team and NET team. Most communities know CERT as community emergency response teams. We're volunteers trained by the city to volunteer in our immediate neighborhoods following a disaster. So I was doing some work with them, and I decided that emergency preparedness could be a really interesting theme to tackle in an escape room, where I would create puzzles that teach hands-on skills about emergency preparedness. So within your 1 hour game, you're subconsciously learning a lot of lessons that can help you be more prepared in the future.
I love that.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and as you well know, that's what we love, because there's so much you can learn from the escape room experience. And normally we focus on soft skills, which we might talk a little bit about today too. But I love that you are teaching people essentially survival skills, especially in today's world.
Yeah. I think,
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think people are a lot more willing to talk about emergency preparedness these days as well. I feel like a while ago, it was almost like not a dirty word, but there was like a weird association with it. You know, people up in the mountains stockpiling supplies or whatever.
Fringe groups. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong with you guys. You live your lives. But I think, within the last couple of years, we've all experienced things we maybe haven't experienced before, like hoarding toilet paper, for example, and like people are starting to think a little bit more about it. And it's interesting the number of people I meet that are like, oh yeah, I do need to work more on emergency preparedness. And this is very interesting. Like, it's always kind of been there in the back of the mind, but they didn't really know how to tackle it. And by playing this escape room, they start their journey. It's a new experience for me, but it's really resonating with people, and I'm really excited to bring it to them.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, without giving too much away, can you maybe take us through a little bit of, what you're teaching folks through an escape room experience?
I would love to, and I probably will be giving a little bit of stuff away. So spoiler alerts if you plan on playing the Shaky Café. But it's hard to talk about without talking about some of the lessons you're actually going to learn. So a little backstory on the game itself. In designing it, I needed to figure out what lessons I wanted to teach. And, I knew I wanted to be about emergency preparedness, but how was I going to do that? And what I did was I went to the FEMA website and looked at the list of tools and items that are recommended to have in your emergency preparedness kit. And I essentially kind of like threw all that in a pile and said, okay, how can I turn these items into puzzles that you use or have some sort of hands-on experience with? So by the end of the game, not only have you learned teachable lessons, but you've also gotten hands-on experience with some of these items. Part of the design process was figuring out what environment that you could do that in. Like, where would all these pieces make sense logically, and then also like finding like the hook. And for me, I decided to kind of hang the project on this idea of trying to find something personal within people's, get them passionate about something specific. People know like, oh, I need to store food and water or whatever, but like, okay, imagine you wake up tomorrow and you can't have coffee. What are you going to do? So I hung that whole, yeah. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to face the apocalypse with caffeine withdrawals. So,
Absolutely.
so and because coffee is such like a Portland thing too, it was fun to kind of like create and build this almost like hipster style coffee shop. It kind of is this Portland theme. And then you're going to go in there and go scavenging. I like to play a lot of RPG games like Fallout, and scavenging is one of like the really fun things. So anyway, to get to your question, I feel like I've taken a little sidetrack.
No, this is awesome.
What are the puzzles that you might learn? So an example is I really wanted to teach people how to recognize a gas leak and turn off a gas meter to prevent a fire. So I talked to the Northwest Natural, that's our gas company here, and they provided me with a gas meter. And so when you first approach the coffee shop, there's a gas meter out there. And the game starts with a door. You actually locked out. Oh, here's Ripple Bean. You actually start the game locked out, and you have to figure out how to get inside the coffee shop. So there's a gas meter. It starts leaking. It's hissing. There's air leaking out of this gas meter, and then you smell it as well. There's like a sulfur smell I had in there.
Oh wow!
So you're detecting a gas leak. You can feel it. You can feel the leak. You can smell it. You can hear it, and then you have to find the wrench and properly turn off the gas meter. There's a telephone pole that has some posters and flyers and stuff you might see outside a coffee shop, and there is like some information up there for you how to do it properly. And when you do that, then the door magically opens and you start your game. So before you've even gotten into the coffee shop, you learn how to detect a gas leak and shut it off properly.
That's awesome.
And then there's a lot more puzzles like that once you get inside, which I can talk about if you would like.
Oh, but that's an amazing tool. Yeah, that's a really neat way to go about that.
Yeah,
and definitely, I like the idea that you're using real devices, real things for the training.
Yeah, very much. It is all real stuff, and that's kind of another piece of this too. That the idea of like taking a chance, and I had to take a chance on a lot of puzzle designs because I did things in this room that I don't think many people would want to do in an escape room. For example, there's a collection of tools that you should have in your emergency preparedness kit, a wrench and some duct tape and a pry bar, for example. And I don't know that many designers would want to put a pry bar into their escape room. It really invites some interesting thought processes, but I needed to do that to create like this display of tools that you should have in your kit at the end. And so I had to take the chance to do that. And I put it in there, and I forget how I got here, but yeah, there's a lot of tools in there that you may not find in a normal escape room for a lot of different reasons. But yeah. Sorry, I think I wound down on that one.
Oh no,
yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, so just tell us a little bit more about. So once you get inside, I used to live in earthquake country, so
you did.
I'm interested.
On the West Coast.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So here in the Pacific Northwest, we're not known for our earthquakes because we don't get a couple every year. We get one massive earthquake every 300 to 500 years. There's this fault line called the Cascadia. Yeah, exactly. The Cascadia subduction zone. And so it's kind of roughly every 300 to 500 years. And it's been 323 years since the last earthquake. And some geologists say there's like a 37% chance that this 9.0 plus earthquake will occur in the next 50 years. So very possibly in our lifetime or possibly the next generation's lifetime. But sorry, I think I just spun out again. So talking more about the things that you experience once you get inside the room. I don't know how I got there. Okay, again, spoiler alerts, but when you first come into the escape room, you are met by a car that has crashed through the wall of the escape room. And there's this it's on fire, and there's smoke pouring out.
Wow.
And you need to mitigate that fire, and you have to find the fire extinguisher and use it properly, which is using the pass method. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep side to side. So there's little targets, and the people discover that once they finally decide to use the fire extinguisher, because most people go in an escape room and figure fire extinguishers hands off, and everyone's very scared to use the fire extinguisher. Once they actually pull the handle, it shoots a laser, and then you can use that laser to
that's awesome.
target the base of the flame, and then the flames go out. And so you have now simulated the use of a fire extinguisher within like the first 2 minutes of the game using the pass method. When that occurs, a light falls out of the ceiling and there's a short circuit effect, and the electrical panel pops open, and so you have to go over and locate the proper circuit and shut it off, and then that shuts off the short circuit, making the game space safe, and then that opens something else that you can go then explore. So yeah, in the opening minutes of the game, you've learned how to detect and shut off a gas leak, use a fire extinguisher, and properly use a circuit breaker to shut down your power to something that's malfunctioning. Those are some of the hands-on skills, but then there's also a lot of just educational content that doesn't necessarily feel like educational content. There's lessons in there, like I'm sure the audience watching this or listening to this has played a lot of escape games. You've all seen the wire patch puzzle. You got a bunch of wires and a bunch of holes, and you have to place switchboard. I do too. So I used that puzzle as an educational opportunity about water storage, how to disinfect water, how to store water, and it becomes a little bit of a connect the dots, like how many drops of bleach do you add to a gallon of water, and then you have to like connect the wires to the correct answer. So the puzzle is a little more interesting than this. There's pieces of the puzzle you have to locate around the room. You have to kind of assemble those, and then that reveals, oh, this is sort of like a quiz, and I need to enter the correct numbers, but now I need to go find the information that I need to complete this puzzle. But this wire patch puzzle turns into a learning opportunity where you're learning, like I said, how often to rotate your water, how much water do you store for an emergency, how to disinfect it, how long do you boil it for, and that is a puzzle that people both enjoy playing. They enjoy the gamification of it, but and the people who enjoy the lesson portion of it enjoy that portion of it. But I also find that the people that don't necessarily care so much about the lesson still really enjoy the game part of it, which is this really interesting kind of balance throughout the entire experience.
Yeah. Well, I love how you are adding, so you're essentially making this fun and it's tactile.
Yeah.
So people are more apt to remember, right? Because I mean, when people in emergencies, it's fight, flight, and I like to add freeze or freak out.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So by getting this tactile muscle memory down and learning in a fun environment, fun, safe environment, they're more apt to actually go into action instead of that freeze or freak out.
Yeah, that's true. And I think even people that aren't taking away the full portion of the lesson, I think if the opportunity ever comes in their life that they need to know that, they might recall it a little bit and be like, oh, there is something here. I may not know all of it, but I do know this is an option now, and I can kind of research it a little bit further. I've got a puzzle in there that teaches you about the twin bucket system. So if the sewer's broken, your toilets don't work, how are you going to deal with human waste? And there is a puzzle in there where you have to collect all the items that you would put. Yeah. And you actually find some poop, and you have to properly dispose of it. And you have to put carbon-based material like leaves on top of it. Yeah. Yeah. But I think people kind of are going to remember that. Whether or not they remember every single step of the process doesn't really matter. They're going to remember the poop and be like, oh yeah, there is a thing I need to do here. And I can now kind of dig into it. I also hand out information at the end of the game, like take home information. So there's a pamphlet I hand out called the Twin Bucket System that they can take with them, that they can then research and learn a little bit more about the true process and not just the gamification, because there is this, like I said, fine balance between like having it be fun and educational, and you have to kind of skew it a little bit towards the fun sometimes.
I'm guessing there's people Googling twin bucket system right now.
Exactly.
Yep. You can go to flush.org. That's PHLUSH.org. And that's where I got the pamphlet.
All good.
Now, how are people doing in the rooms? How do you think, are they brave enough to jump in, or and what kind of I'm compound questioning this, but
sure.
How do you see people doing in the room?
That's a great question. I just started this game back in maybe 6 months ago, and I've been observing every game that goes through. I'm one person operation, so I'm the GM for every game, and I see how people are doing. And I had people constantly losing the game by just a couple of minutes, and I wanted people to just barely win by a couple of minutes. So I've been adjusting the difficulty. I omitted one puzzle that I thought was great, but I realized it just was unsatisfactory, and there was more negatives than positives. So I omitted that, and I've just doing minor tweaks have got it to where I want it. And I have, I think, maybe about 70% success rate at this point.
Good.
I also give a lot of nudges, I guess, because during my game brief, there's the hint system. You use the walkie-talkies for the hint system, but I also make it clear from the beginning that I need to give you information throughout the game that you're going to need at certain points because of the kind of educational component. So I will periodically be giving you nudges. Now, these aren't hints. This is just information you're going to need to move forward. And then that gives me a little bit of room to not only give them the information they need, but to subtly nudge them forward and kind of give them hints they're not actually asking for, but I feel like they need to maybe get over a hump. So then people don't feel like, people are always kind of afraid to ask for hints, or just, I for one, hate asking for hints in a game, but sometimes you just need that. So it's kind of giving them permission to like accept nudges without having to ask for hints, which is nice. Yeah.
Because we would need help in these kind of situations anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah, that is a good point. And exactly. So people are doing pretty well in the game. They're really enjoying it. The people, I get a lot of first timers. I don't have a lot of enthusiasts seeking my game out. Another unique component to my game is that it's mobile. It's built in a trailer. And nice. So I'm doing these pop-ups around town, or like corporate team buildings where I bring the trailer to your location and do team buildings on site. But I've recently partnered with, here in Portland, we have a small amusement park called Oaks Park. It's a historical amusement park, a couple roller coasters and lots of little kiddie rides and stuff like that. And there's this historical skating rink there that people come to all the time. And I'm partnered with them. And so I'm kind of permanently parked with the ability to move for pop-ups, but near the skating rink, where I get a lot of just walk-in traffic from people who are kind of vaguely aware of escape rooms, like, I've always wanted to try one, but I probably wouldn't have gone out of my way to do it, but because now it's right here, like, let's give it a shot. So I get a lot of first timers. So my game is a lot of people's first experience into escape rooms, but I'm also stacking this educational component on top of it, which I was like, this could go either way, right? But people are really loving it. They're really enjoying it, and like feeling like they're getting something positive out of it. And there's the lasting value, and like I said, this kind of social value that goes along with it. And people are really appreciating it. And they're both enjoying the lessons and really enjoying the game, which I'm really excited about.
It sounds like a great introduction to the escape room industry.
Yes.
It's nice too. And because I don't have a second room, I only have the one room, I then immediately get to turn them on to some of my favorite games in town. Like, if you like this, go check out this location, or go check out this location.
Nice.
And trying to push them towards like some of the higher quality rooms that have really resonated with me anyway.
Oh, nice. I wish you were in our area, because we like to host dinner parties and have like a mobile escape room come. And there was only one in the area. And, so we've used that all up. So that would be cool.
Well, I'll travel, but it'd be a lot of gas to get there.
Now, before we get to your final piece of advice, it now is your time for a 60-second commercial. So tell folks how they can get a hold of you, how they can do the room, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Sure.
whatever you want to share.
Okay, great. Well, sorry, I got a Ripple Bean here.
In addition to that cuteness over your shoulder.
Yeah, this is Ripple Bean.
Aw.
Hey.
There she is. So I've got, my name's Tyler Robinson. I've got the Shaky Café. It's a mobile escape room in Portland, Oregon. The company's Side Quest Escape Games. Started with this idea of like sometimes the side quest is more fun than the actual journey you're on. And my mobile escape room teaches you about emergency preparedness as you play. You can find us online at shakygroundscafe.com and learn more about how to play there. You can follow us on Instagram at Shaky Grounds Cafe and find where our pop-ups are. So if you're in the Portland area, you can find out where we are that weekend. Oftentimes we're at Oaks Amusement Park, but we're also available for corporate team buildings, private parties, block parties, scouting, church events, all kinds of things like that. So and we'll travel anywhere. It's just going to be a matter of gas, as I mentioned earlier. So we'll travel throughout the Pacific Northwest or wherever you like. But yeah, we are available for your corporate team buildings. We'll bring the trailer to you. You just provide us with a parking spot and we'll take care of the rest.
Excellent. Well, just sort of in summary, what's your advice to people either on emergency preparedness or on when you're faced with an emergency, like in your escape room?
Life.
Or life. What's your piece of advice on what people should do to be successful?
It's a great question. I think to be successful in escape rooms and then probably in life as well, this skews a little bit away from emergency preparedness, but I honestly think you should just take a chance. I took a chance with this escape room. I don't know if it was going to work or not. It seems to be working. People really seem to like it. And then literally in an escape room, take the chance. Pull the pin on the fire extinguisher and squeeze the handle. Like if you try something and it doesn't work, it's our fault as the designer, not your fault for trying. So try everything. If you see the big red button in there, don't be afraid to push it. Don't be cautious. Just trust in the experience and the spirit of exploration and take the chance. But maybe don't take the chance on preparedness. Be prepared. Store the water. Store the food.
There you go.
You may not need it, but it's better to not need it and have it than need it.
Yeah.
Have it and not.
Yep.
Or
have it,
not have it and need it.
And not have it. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, just try things. Take the chance. Take the leap and do it. And I as designers too, I would encourage you to take a chance and design something outside your comfort zone. Just try something completely new or different, and design the game that you'd like to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Well, and I do love pushing that big red button.
She does.
Oh yeah.
If there's a button in a room,
there.
she'll press it.
I'm going to push it.
Yeah. I'm surprised at how many people choose not to. I'm like, wow, that's the first thing I would do. I didn't think I even needed to have a hint system to encourage you to push the big red button, but push the big red button.
Yes.
And if you're not intended to use the pry bar, I'll let you know, but it's easier for me to let you experiment with it than stick do not touch stickers on everything. So just try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Great piece
Great
of
advice. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us today, Tyler.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Want to learn more about the Eanes escapeletes, buy the book, or read the blog? Visit lifeisanescaperoom.com.